All right, well, I am very, very excited to have Luna here. So this is how Luna came into my world. I'm teaching a class currently called Fire and Isis 2.0. It's the second one. I've taught about Tantra and alchemy and ancient practices of how to be able to step into your priesthoodness. I don't even know if that's a word, but I like it.
It is now.
It is now. And while I was on this journey, I saw my dear friend post about a book she was reading called Sex Magic Evolution. Just came highly recommended. So I hopped on Amazon and I got it. I'll tell you some synchronicity about this. So I got the book and just started reading it. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this like reading for the group as we did this class. And then I thought, I need to meet Luna. So I asked for an introduction. We hopped on the phone. I'm like, okay, I've got to interview you on the podcast. And then I invited her to come to Utah. And here's some of the crazy synchronicities. So I was down in Mexico, just with her and her book. I was down in Mexico recently doing a retreat for a pre-Burning Man retreat for a Burning Man camp. And we have this gorgeous place. It's like infinity pool. And I saw this man that was at this retreat and this woman. They weren't together. They were, just separately there, both reading by the pool. And I'm like, I'm gonna go see what they're reading. And I walked down, the women's in my course. So what are you guys reading? They both turned around and smiled. They're both reading this book. And I was working with Luna with his wife, and Love was reading it for the class. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then, not only that, but when we told Buffy, we're like, hey, Luna's coming. She wrote this book, Sex Magic Evolution. And Buffy's like, wait, I have that book.
You guys, I don't even remember, I walked into a random coffee shop in Sedona and was like, that book looks really interesting. And I just felt so compelled. It's the most I've ever spent on a book. I think it was $50 at that coffee shop. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, that's kind of a lot, but I just need this book. Mm-hmm. And it's been 3 years I've had that book on my shelf, and now we're here. Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of really good things. I found this book. I haven't read Luna's other books yet, but I'm excited to read them. And
they're on their way to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So anyway, without any further ado, I'd love to introduce to you Luna Ora. So everybody stand up and love you so much. Thank you.
You're such an inspiration.
Thank you.
So I'm just so grateful to be here. You don't even know how much on so many levels. Not just because I'm here, I have the honor to talk to you, but on a personal level, just because I needed sisterhood. And I have my sisters, but they're all over the world, just one is in this country, one is in that country, and I just really needed to be in the same room with wonderful women. So I'm just so grateful. I honestly didn't bring anything prepared, so I feel like maybe I want to dance with your energy today and serve you in the best possible way that I can in this short time. I am a priestess of the temple. I am a servant of the mother. I am the embodiment of the mother on earth. Please help me serve my sister in the best possible way. So if anyone wants to throw something out into the room, anything anything, don't even overthink it, and then we can.
Can I start with something?
Please.
I talked about this on my podcast too, but one of the things I really like that Luna brings out in the book is she says, today, you said, today we kind of think that men are driven by their sacral chakra, sexuality, and women are driven by the heart, but actually the opposite is true, that women really carry the power in their womb, and as we heal the hearts of the men, that's where their power is. So
yeah.
I really loved that. I don't know if you want to start talking about that, or if anybody else has any other questions, but that really stuck out to me.
It's big. It's so simple, but it's big, and just understanding that shifts everything the view that we have on ourselves, on men, on unions, on sex, on everything else. So, just to sum it up, we've been taught, all of us, that we are emotional creatures, and we are emotional creatures. It's one of our powers, but we're not just emotional creatures. And our power is here, is in the womb, is the sexual life force. That's our power. That's what drives us. That's why when a woman is unfulfilled sexually in a relationship, it's like dying inside for her, and she doesn't. Most women that come to me with that issue, they don't even understand why. I'm like, yeah, I understand, sister. You're dying inside. This is not, you're not being fed. Your life force is not being moved. And the man's core power is the heart. So the man is actually not driven by his penis, it is actually driven by the heart. And that's why I hope that we can inspire our brothers to connect again with the heart and be led and guided and act and speak from the heart. Anyone has anything she wants to ask or talk about or is curious about in the realm of sex or magic?
Given what you just said,
Mm-hmm.
if a woman has been dying because of the lack of,
Yes.
what's the step out?
It depends on the woman, of course, and it depends on where she's at in her life. If she has a man in her life, if she has children, like, you have to work with all the components because it will shift. It will change how we work with this specific woman. The kind of job that she's doing, her career, the way she handles emotions even. Everything really is important. I'm going to see if there are any traumas she's holding in her body, any pain. So many levels, but I'm gonna do everything in order to awaken again this life force and her power and what moves her in her life. Yes, I know that this is a very vague answer, but really I can't, this is very individual.
Yeah, makes sense.
It is, yes.
I have no idea where people are in their life journey. I happen to be with a man. I've only been with men. I'm curious, is this the same for same-sex relationships? Like for male-male connection and female-female? And if you could speak to that, I'm just curious.
I love a great question. So, are you talking about just sex magic? I can talk generally about the sexual transmutation. The thing is, and I know many people are not going to like to hear it, but I'm just speaking the truth. Let's talk about the sexual alchemy. So, sexual alchemy, the basic one that we know and is the very needed one is we have the, let's talk about because we also have the physical and the energetic. So in the physical body, we have the semen, right? We have the physical fluids, we have semen, and we have an egg and also other fluids from the woman. On the very basic level, right, they come together, they create a baby. Not always necessarily a baby, but that's what they create. So we got the union, and that's alchemy. That's what, the alchemical child in the teachings of alchemy is a symbolic representation of that third life force that is created from a union. Now, it's not just the physical baby that men and women create, it's the life force. So they create a lot of things during sex. When you're having sex with your partner, I'm talking men and a woman right now, what you're doing in the bedroom is affecting the entire world. And that's what people need to understand. It's all about me, and my pleasure, and what I'm doing right now, and my orgasm, and how do I look, and all these things that are just in the moment, like it's such a small point of view, but understanding that I am affecting the entire world. And let's look at the world now. Let's face it. I mean, there's a lot of beauty, there's a lot of love, but there's also a lot of shit. So I know that if we are more responsible with our sexual energy and with this alchemy and coming to it with more intention and with more love, we can affect everything in the world. We can help the children in Africa. We can, save the animals in New Zealand. We can, create awareness for child trafficking. All of these things during the sexual alchemy. When we talk about energetic alchemy, that's also very important because that also affects everything. So the teachings of the temple really bring people to a place where they are very aware, knowledgeable, and wise, because you can have the knowledge but not the wisdom, right? Like not the wisdom on how to use that knowledge. You can read many books, but the wisdom comes from within. And having the wisdom to use their union in a way they can birth specific life force. They never have to birth children, but birth this third entity that will create a new world even. I know that once we reach a certain amount of sacred unions, we can change the world. When it comes to same sex, we do not have the physical alchemy, right? Because we don't have the egg and the semen. We just have, we don't have the physical alchemy. Let's face it. So it's true. I don't care what people say today with gender and things like that. It's just basic biology. So, but we do have energetic alchemy. And I have seen couples from the same sex that actually, I've seen more energetic alchemy in them than in all of the other, other couples that I've seen. So it's really about how you are coming to this union and all the work you do before and after. And again, like people see Tantra today as, I come to the bed, just the space, the bedroom, let's just put it, give it an image right now, you can do it in the car, you can do it there. I come to the bedroom and, I'm gonna put the penis in the yoni and I'm gonna go like this, and that's sex. Sex is breathing. Sex is eating. When you're eating something, you are the feminine force, and you are allowing an energy, life, to penetrate and unite with the cells of your body. What are you putting in your body? Are you putting love? Are you putting suffering? Are you putting pain? Are you putting fear? Are you putting joy, beauty? How are you uniting with this energy? Because that affects the world, not just your body. It affects everything. Because you're walking around with this vessel of light and this energy body around you that feeds and eats from everything like else, and it's always moving. This entire cosmos is made up of feminine and masculine energies. Do this with me. You read this in the book if you read the book. Take a breath and let it out. What did we just do? We had sex. You allowed some sort of energy to penetrate your body when you inhaled. I am feminine. And when I exhale, I penetrate the cosmos. I am masculine. So we are constantly creating union. Now, how are we creating this union? Are we creating more shadows? Are we creating more light? That's up to us. No? Hopefully that answered your question. But energetic and physical alchemy are both very important, and you can master both of them in a miraculous way. Anyone else?
What do you define as sacred union?
Sacred union is it's a good question. I never defined it so clearly. I like that. For me, it is the alchemized version, the alchemized, purified, elevated, evolved version of the divine masculine. Same for the divine feminine. Coming together with intention and with love. That's as simple as I can. In order to birth new life with, again, intention.
So there's a difference between sex and sacred union.
Absolutely. I am living a sacred union by myself. I haven't had sex for 3 years, but I'm living full sacred union.
Mm-hmm.
This is what my Sex Priestess Manual book is about. It's huge, like 3 times, probably 4 times that book. It's all about really that journey of the feminine to sacred union. Because I really believe, especially now in this time, every generation has teachers that come and bring specific codes for that time. This is just a specific code that's right for many in this time. But the men today, women, let's start with the women. We are here we are the leaders. We have always, even if we go to the sex, men and women having sex, the woman is always the leader. The woman always leads energetically everything that's happening. Like I said, remember I told you we have all the power. We just don't know how to use it yet, but some of it. Can you bring me back to your question? To the question? My mind went somewhere.
The definition of sacred union.
And then I said the difference between sex and sex.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Between sex and sex. Sorry, I was looking at it. And just so you know, I am so tired right now because I'm very, very satisfied tired, like not that tired. I'm really happy to be here. So I'm a little bit like between dimensions right now in a happy way. The difference between sex and the sacred union. So again, it's mastering. For the feminine, it's that journey of yearning. For us, what drives us is yearning. It's not desire, it's not passion. That's kind of the 3D version of that, but our soul yearns. That's why, so, when we're in our girl phase, we like, I need a man, I need a guy, I want a guy, like I need the masculine to like give me something, to fill me up, to do this. Then we move up a little bit, right? And then we're like, I don't need a man. I could do it all by myself. Mm-hmm. And then we come to the integrated queen, like Maya said it, which is like, I need a man. Like I need the masculine, not because I need him, but I need the masculine because with the right masculine, and you know this, with the right masculine, I can reach such higher levels of my being with that divine masculine support. When you don't have that ultimate divine masculine support, it's better not to have it, it's better to do it alone, but not from the place of like, I don't need a man, because that's also wounded. That's also not true. We need the masculine because we want to create. And so you can find ways to create that sacred union in your life in many, many ways. Even food, like I said, food. The way you move your body, the way you breathe, the way you treat your children, the way you are showing up in sisterhood. It's really everywhere and everything, because we are, first of all, as humans, we are sex. Like I said before, we are sex generally. But us women, especially the women of this modern time, like look at you all. I mean, you're magical creatures. You are. Even if you don't believe about that about yourself yet, you are magical creatures. And being that mirror and reminder for each other, like she looks at me and she looks at me with this look at her, and she love, and she looks at me in a way that for me right now, she's holding the divine masculine for me when I need it. It's not conscious. She's not consciously doing that. But because she's a sister, she knows right now Luna needs, like subconsciously, she needs some divine masculine to hold her for, to hold the energy for her. And that's what she's doing for me. Feel it. She doesn't have to think about it. But that's love. And that's union. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's everywhere. It's all the time. And it's a wonderful exploration once we begin to play with those energies, And there's so much things I want to say. Maybe I'll take more questions so that I won't go on a...
So when you say sex magic,
yes.
How do you define that? Like why those two words?
Why those two words? First of all, there's a few reasons. First of all, because these words are kind of like, ooh, activating people. It's like, ooh, okay, what is that? I'm curious, because the word sex and the word magic are very, very, no-no.
Yeah.
They're very no-no in our society. They're very provocative, but all that I do is about sex and it's about magic. And sex is magic. It's not separate, come on, Maya, when you hug Gerald, isn't that magic? It's pure magic. We look at them and it's like, we don't even have to be in the bedroom with them. It's like, it's magic. And and you feel even when he's just standing next to you, that you are birthing something around you. You're just, you being in each other's reality. And come on, we've all seen it. You don't have to know what sex magic is to see what someone in a sacred union creates together with their energy to the world. You know, it's a beautiful example. So, and another reason, I'm going to go to the other reason. We cannot understand, I don't believe we can be sovereign, my accent, I'm sorry, sovereign, in our state right now, in our evolution, if we don't understand magic. Because magic is being used against us all the time. If you read my other books and see my videos and stuff, I always speak about what I call them the dark wizards. And this is not to scare anyone, and this is not to this is real. There are forces, people, some of them not people, that use actual black magic against humanity and have been doing so for a very long time. And with that, destroying the sacred union, destroying the way we eat, destroying the way we have the tribe, destroying the tribe, destroying the family unit, destroying masculinity, destroying sex. I mean, sex has completely been distorted. It's the most magnificent gift we can. It's the communication of the masculine and the feminine. We know men and women are coming from completely different dimensions, right? But sex is how we communicate, but that communication has been so distorted. It's been put down into this image of a pornographic image, or either pornographic to this extreme, or you just make a baby, you don't enjoy it. You can't have, no. So very extreme lies and manipulations. But where is the truth? And we all seek it, even, people who are into polyamorous relationship, which I'm not into, and I don't. No, I know you're not, but we're just talking about it.
Yeah.
Everyone is seeking it. Even people who go sleep with every different person every night. Everyone is really at the end seeking to really know what it's like to be in that sacred union, because it's who we are. And it's our nature, and it's the soul's craving to come home, to return home. So some of us get lost a little bit and do it in different ways, and we make a little mistakes. It's okay. We can always come back. We grow. And so so knowledge about magic is really going to also help us in coming back to the sacred union. But we can't sugarcoat it. We have to put everything on the table now, because of so much time of lies and manipulation and distortion and crap. It's the time of truth, and it's the time to put the truth on the table, and it's not beautiful. It's not always beautiful. So, knowledge is power, literally. And the truth shall set us free.
Can I ask my question?
Yes,
now that I
please.
asked you? So for those of you who don't know, my husband and I are non-monogamous. We're not polyamorous, but we're non-monogamous, and I am a relationship coach in the non-monogamy space.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously this idea of sacred union, I'm 100% behind it. And in my world, there is sex for playfulness.
Mm-hmm.
And so you said I wasn't going to like your answer about
Yeah.
this. What is
About polyamory. About polyamory.
polyamory specifically, you have an opinion, or about?
I mean, I have an opinion about everything. I'm Israeli.
I see similar things. People say they're coming for the sex and the fun of, that they see or perceive from the outside, but that's not why they're really coming. They're coming for the connection.
Yeah, everyone, like I said, everyone is seeking that. Even if they're divorced, everyone at the end seeks that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the notion that non-monogamy challenges is that you can have wonderful connection with someone that you're not necessarily in love with.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree with you. You're not going to have sacred union with that person. But I think, especially in our culture that has shamed women for sex, we are sexual beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is like another playground for understanding that side of us
Mm-hmm.
in my world.
Yeah.
But what would you say about that?
Oh gosh, so many things I want to tell you. Okay. I want so many things. Okay. This is very important conversation because
I agree.
it's very important conversation. Just to be clear, when you say non-monogamous versus polyamory for you,
Yeah.
what can you make
So,
the distinction for us?
Yes. So non-monogamous is the huge umbrella term.
Okay.
Then underneath that, there's swinging,
Mm-hmm.
which is you have a primary partner and you're doing mostly like sexual activity.
Mm-hmm.
But very deep friendships, I would still say. That's the part that people don't realize on that side. And connection.
Connection.
Polyamory is taking that connection another step, and you're actually falling in love with multiple people and maintaining multiple relationships, and you may or may not have a primary.
Mm-hmm. Got you.
That's,
Yeah.
And then everybody, this is the beautiful thing about non-monogamy is every single couple gets to define it for themselves.
Yes.
And what works for them, blah, blah, blah. So these are all the umbrella terms, and then every single couple is going to have their own definition.
Absolutely. So, in my opinion, and from where I stand and from what I teach, again, it's just me. First of all, not everyone is meant to create a sacred union. I'm gonna be real. I always say, not everyone is meant to read this book. Not everyone is meant to even experience what we would term sacred sexuality. It's not for everyone. It's really not. Especially the way I teach it, because the way I teach it is in such regards and honor to the temple that I demand a higher level of integrity and commitment and purity. So again, it's not for everyone. If you asking for my personal opinion and from what I've learned from the temple and the sisters and just my work, and also people that came to me in an open relationship, like I worked, I in the beginning of my journey, I worked with a lot of people that were in an open, but I stopped very quickly. I just couldn't. It's just not like, I'm really honoring you that you're, not you, the couples, like I'm honoring you that you want to get therapy and help and support. It's beautiful, but I'm not your person.
Yeah.
Let me guide you there to this person.
You can tell them to call.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Now you have so much.
Now I know. Now I know. And I told her before too, like, I'm actually happy that there is people like you who will help and give support to people, because it's a very, come on, like even one even just two partners, it's complicated. So like bringing I'm sorry.
It's very complicated. It is very complicated.
I have never seen one couple in this kind of scenario that is truly happy. I don't know if happy is the word, because maybe they're happy, but aligned with their soul, authentic with who they are. There's always some sort of, from what I've seen, again, maybe I don't know them, maybe they're out there and I don't know these couples, I don't know. But there's always a feeling of like running away to something instead. The thing is, you have these 2 points of attraction, especially one that's holding a divine feminine, one that's holding a divine masculine. And that's the nature of the universe. Again, the nature of the universe is sex, and what sex is the union of the divine masculine and feminine. But when we bring a third or fourth or fifth, point of attraction, it's chaos. And there is no union. You can.
Well, can I throw in an example?
Yes, please.
For anyone who has been a part of an orgy, and I know you're going to have really terrible reaction to the word orgy.
No.
These are magical experiences that it is palpable, and almost everyone involved will always say, if only everyone in the world could experience this. So maybe what I'm thinking and just playing with you here is that world, my world, is a playground for ultimately achieving what you're talking about with their partner.
Exactly. That was the next point, because there's nothing wrong with that. I actually had only one client from all my clients, but only one that I know it's going to sound weird to you, that I actually sent her to an orgy. Because in where she was, in the healing state that she needed to be in, which I'm not going to go into because it's too complicated, she needed to experience this. She never did it again because she knew it wasn't her soul's,
Yeah.
But she needed to experience that energy just that one time. So it could be a healing experience when done in the right environment with the right people. What I am very upset about is that I've seen too much BS within the tantric and sacred sexuality and communities around the world, because instead of healing trauma and creating safe spaces, outside they're like, yeah, this is a safe space and we're, this and that, but really they're creating more chaos and more trauma.
Can I add something to that? Because I feel like there's a difference when you put your trust in somebody to help you evolve spiritually through sexuality, and then they misuse or abuse that in order to fulfill personal needs.
Absolutely.
Versus when you're like coming at it from like, oh, this is like a fun experience. I'm going into it. I know what to expect. I'm clear on things. To me, there's a difference like of surrender, and I think this is where you're talking about like the dark forces that can come in, because sex, and especially women, like that's been manipulated. We've been manipulated for years. So to me, it's a difference of like, are you in full choice and understanding of what's happening, versus is something being marketed to help you evolve and transition, but instead being used to actually diminish your like soul purpose and your energetic body. So
and also remember, you come to these spaces where you have multiple people, with their sexual energy and life force. I mean, and let's face it, they're not all evolved. They're not all there for a spiritual experience. They're not all there with purified vessel. They're not there with good intentions, even most of them. Let's face it. They can tell you they can tell you all the beautiful words, but a lot of people come with not with their light side, but with their shadow. And then you have shadows uniting, creating vortexes of more shadows and more chaos. They can come out of that room feeling like they just touched God. They can feel the most elevated possible, like they just took DMT and like touched source, but they don't know what's happening in the other levels of their subconscious and their body, what just happened. Like they don't know. Like that's the thing, they don't know. Like illnesses can happen, mental, spiritual, emotional diseases. So like traumas can come out of it. Like I had women coming to me that, they had traumas from like 5-10 years ago. I don't remember exactly how many years, that they were in an orgy. She felt like the most empowered, amazing. I had one that went to an orgy and one that had a sexual experience with a man. Like, she never had this kind of experiences, and she went and she was like, great, I'm gonna have like therapy, I'm gonna have like, this experience and open myself up. Years later, the traumas that have been dormant in their subconscious affected their entire life. And so we have to go back in there and like transmute all of that.
Sorry, I'm really liking this conversation, and also like time awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'd
Yeah,
love
of
for you
course.
to continue.
Yeah.
But there's a couple other things that I would really love for you to touch on. And one is this idea of alchemy. So us as women, through our wombs, being able to alchemize not only our own emotions, but also like the world's emotions. And you kind of touched on this a little bit, but one thing that really struck me in the book, and I've felt this way too, is like, as women, oftentimes those of us that are energetically gifted or sensitive, and we all took the quiz, we are feeling our own emotions, we're feeling others' emotions, we're feeling what's going on in the world, we're feeling what's going on with nature, and we're having to run a household, and we're having to do business, and we're having to maintain relationships, and it's like all of these things all at once. And what I'd love for you to address is, how can we take that from being like pulling our energy away to seeing that as energy and bringing it in? And I know we've talked about this on the podcast, and there's some tantric breathwork and things, but what is your opinion on and thoughts on how we can be the best vessels as women to be able to actually heal the world rather than be overwhelmed by it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's very well put. So because we don't have a lot of time, I'm gonna try to, obviously I can't go too deep. You are a vessel of light, first of all. Every human, man as well, this is a vessel of light. This is a vessel of information, okay? I want you to remember, light is information. And again, this is one of the reasons I'm not very popular, because this is one thing that people don't want to hear all the time. But what are you consuming? So in order to be the most pure, clear vessel that I can be for whatever, for me it's the mother, for you it could be another, anything that you feel like you're here to birth into the world, you have to respect this vessel. You have to honor this vessel. Do you honor it when you consume alcohol, right? Like every weekend. Do you honor it when you eat a steak, of an animal that's being abused and tortured, and you consuming the fear and the trauma and lowering your frequency? Even when we look at dairy, what is dairy? It is information from a feminine creature who's been raped constantly, her baby taken away from her, and she was murdered violently when she couldn't produce more babies. So, and we're consuming the fear, the mother-child wound. We're consuming all of these on all these layers. I'm not one of these people who are going to tell women, don't sleep around. You feel like you want to fuck this man? You go fuck this man, and you enjoy it, and you own it, and you take everything that he's giving you and you use it. But just make sure that you're connected to yourself when you do that. You don't have to be like me, not having sex for years. It's not what every woman is like. I don't want to frighten you, but honor your body. You honor this vessel. And remember, everything is information, and you are making love to that information. You are uniting with this information all the time. So honoring this vessel, we talked to Paige before. Paige, loving your blood.
Yeah.
I mean, it hurts me when I hear a woman that says, when my period comes, like, ugh, I want my period to go on forever, like forever. I don't want it to ever stop. Like every time my blood comes, like, thank you, because I'm 40 already. I'm like, okay, thank you, it's here. Like use it. Ritual, use it in ritual, right? Like these are the little tiny things we do, but they make a big difference in living in this magnificent feminine body. So connecting with it in every way that you see fit, that works for you. Like simple thing, like we said, those of you in the class, we talked about it, just placing your hands on your womb and talking to the womb and listening to the womb. More than talking is listening to the womb. Because you are listening to the entire cosmos, because it's right here. Like, touch it, it's right here. Some of you birth children into this world. Like, you are portals. I mean, there's no more magic than that. It doesn't get any more magical than that. That's it. Like, right? It really doesn't. So, your blood is a proof. Your blood is the blood of life. It's not the blood of death. It's the blood of life. When we eat animals, it's the blood of death. But that's the blood of life. You eat that, not a steak. You take a little bit every month and you put it in your tongue, and that's what you need to consume. Because it's life. That was my rant about the blood.
Amen.
Amen, sister.
I have a question. It's kind of random. I know a lot of women struggle with not feeling sensitized, not being able to climax or orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
What are the energetics that exist around that, and what have you seen in your practices that contribute to that, and how do you overcome that?
Every single time, it was always emotional or spiritual. Mostly emotional. Mm-hmm. It's connected to something spiritual, but it's for women it's always emotional. For men, it's emotional, spiritual, and physical, because erectile dysfunction is a lot physical these days for men too. But for women, it's it's emotional, it's trauma, it's for every woman is very different. That's why I go, I do past life regressions and we go deep and we, explore, but it's very fascinating to see what causes this in women. It's so different, and every woman is such a different universe. But it's also it's not that hard to heal and move. A lot of women feel with that, they feel the shame and they feel the guilt, the shame, mostly shame. It's like, and angry about themselves, that I cannot climax, and no matter what I do, and for some women it's with men, for some women it's with men and alone, like they can't. So it depends on her process. So, but it's really not that hard once you get into the core of where it came from and you go to the subconscious. It's very quickly released. It's not hard. A lot of women think, oh my God, I'm never gonna this is never gonna change, but it can very quickly change. Yeah.
Is that true for women who have had hysterectomies?
Yes.
Is that true for women who hysterectomy, postmenopausal, dry as a bone?
Absolutely. You can have better
dry
orgasms.
to the point that walking sometimes hurts.
You can have better orgasms. Then it's a matter of this. In that case that you just said, it is also more of a hormonal imbalance. Hormonal imbalance, which can be also healed pretty quickly with the right diet and supplements. Yeah. Yes.
I would love to hear, we had discussed this briefly and I just wanted to give you space to talk about it. What would you want early childhood education to be like so that people have a foundation to build upon that's also age appropriate?
Yeah.
And then end of life, Crone, women. I think we really underplay how important sexuality can be in the whole life cycle. So if you just want to speak freely on either or both, would love to
She
hear.
was one of the safest, most wise women, but I'll let you speak on that. Just so we know, for time awareness, it is 6, so we'll probably have to make this the last topic of discussion.
I'll do a very super quick answer. My 5 to 10 year plan, as I'm in my Crone phase later on, is to create programs for girls, for young girls and families to educate. And I was really inspired in the event this weekend to start speaking to late teens, in high schools even, because it's really horrible what's happening today with teens and sex. And the Crone, what you shared before about this project touched my soul. I'm very passionate about it. One of the videos I'm working on for my YouTube, if you check my YouTube out, I'm going to speak about the Crone and the menopause phase, also from the point of view of a priestess in the temple and the energetics, the spiritual. So I got a lot to say about that. So I'm going to prepare a video. So because now we don't have time to talk about it, but yeah.
Just really quickly, I've never heard the term Crone before. Where does that come from, and how are you spelling it?
Great question. So there's different phases. If anybody else who knows this, please feel free to speak on it. There's maiden, mother, Crone. These are different stages of a woman's life cycle. Crone, Crone, comes from, there's actually in this film, and I'm happy to send you other resources, quite a lot about this, but if you look in a lot of myths across the world, what is the role of the woman who has already had children, who's already had a family, who is now in this wisdom phase. In certain cultures, they've demonized them and called them witches. In certain cultures, they've been embraced as the elders who hold the wisdom. So that's where Crone comes from.
Is this a term?
Yes. Yeah, it's a term.
It's a term for an older woman.
Yeah.
It has been rather demonized, but it was not intended to be so. And the film looks at that, how and why did we start demonizing older women?
But we know why, really, is because those women hold the most powerful codes for humanity. It's really that simple. If you look at all of the groups in our society that has been demonized and murdered and killed and destroyed somehow, in some way, they hold the most powerful codes for our society. So, yeah. But the Crone is coming back, bitches.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to learn more about you.
Yeah. So you can go. The easiest thing is motherisrising.com. Very simple. motherisrising.com. You can have links to my Instagram, my YouTube, my books, my programs that I'm gonna have a couple new ones soon. But yeah, so you will see everything there and contact me. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, and we have a quick survey. We would love to get your feedback. We want to do more of these, and also we're going to be starting a women's circle. And so Maya Rose, do you want to come up and just share? At the very last page, we talk a little bit about it, but it's this vision that Maya Rose and I have of just bringing in